Hello again. So this time we are back with IPDC and none other than Joler Gaan. So we listened to their track previously called Purar Jaga Purar Jomi, which we absolutely loved, including the message. So the message of that track was brilliantly done and executed as part of IPDC platform. Now we are going to listen to School Khuilase Re Mawla. Correct me with the pronunciation. And
I have no doubts.
okay,
Pronunciation.
okay, you are being too generous, but let's see. All right. Anyways, it's Joler Gaan, so we are excited because they have certain theatrics up their sleeves always. So
Yes.
looking forward to that. Shall we
Alrighty.
start?
Yeah, let's do it. Three, two, one, play.
Sort of Chennai kind of notes on trumpet.
It's it's a very clever use of trumpet. We will talk about it.
বিলম্বের আর সময় নাই
চলরে মন ভরায় যায় বিলম্বের আর সময় নাই চলরে মন ভরায় যায় বিলম্বের আর
They're making some sort of announcement.
সময় নাই
Announcements.
চলরে মন
Calling everyone out.
What is this called? What is this?
I was trying to remember, but I don't recall the name of the system. The beats of this track.
I love them so much.
স্কুল খুইলাছে রে মৌলা স্কুল খুইলাছে
স্কুল খুইলাছে রে মাওলা স্কুল
Look at his expressions.
গাউসুল আজম মাইজ ভান্ডারি স্কুল খুইলাছে
গাউসুল আজম মাইজ ভান্ডারি স্কুল খুইলাছে
গাউসুল আজম মাইজ ভান্ডারি স্কুল খুইলাছে গাউসুল আজম মাইজ ভান্ডারি স্কুল খুইলাছে আবাল বৃদ্ধ নর নারী করে সব হুড়াহুড়ি নাম করে রেজিস্ট্রারি ভর্তি হইতাছে গাউসুল আজম মাইজ ভান্ডারি স্কুল খুইলাছে গাউসুল আজম মাইজ ভান্ডারি স্কুল খুইলাছে স্কুল খুইলাছে রে মৌলা স্কুল খুইলাছে
Look at his eyes.
খুইলাছে রে মৌলা স্কুল খুইলাছে
Proper performance.
গাউসুল আজম মাইজ ভান্ডারি স্কুল খুইলাছে গাউসুল আজম
My cheeks hurt every time I. This IPDC is. This is what you love to see.
সেই স্কুলের
Wow,
এমনি ধারা
harmonium.
বিচার নাই জোয়ান বুড়া সিনায় সিনায় লেখা পড়া শিক্ষা দিতাছে
আরে সিনাই সিনাই লেখা পড়া শিক্ষা দিতাছে
আরে মাস্টার মাহিনা সারা এলমলো দুনি পড়া
মাস্টার মাহিনা সারা এলমলো তুমি পড়া
কাগজ কলম দুয়াত কালির কি দরকার আছে
গাউসুল আজম মাইজ ভান্ডারি স্কুল খুইলাছে গাউসুল আজম মাইজ ভান্ডারি স্কুল খুইলাছে
These guys are so clever.
The way he's performing.
সহস্তে দস্তখত দিয়াছ
ও।
গোলামি খত আলস্তবে রব্বে কোন স্মরণ নিয়াছে
আরে আলোস্তবে রব্বে কুমুর শরণ নিয়াছে
কালুবালা বলে এলে এখন
He's
কেন
so into
পাশ
character.
করিলে
কালুমালা বলে এলে এখন কেন পাশ করিলে
জবানবন্দি দিতে গেলে ঠিকই বিপেছে
He's trying so hard to not laugh.
Yeah.
স্কুল খুইলাছে
I'm amazed with his
Mais
performance.
Bhandari, School Khuilase.
I love this acoustic part.
রমেশ বলে অবোধ মোহন সময় গেল অকারণ শিয়রে সমোহন এসে খাড়া রয়েছে
আরে শিওরে সমনে সে খাড়া রয়েছে
রমেশ বলে অবোধ মোহন সময় গেল অকারণ শিয়রে সমোহন এসে খাড়া রয়েছে ভান্ডারির স্কুলে যাও কদম খাতায় নাম লিখা
ভান্ডারির স্কুলে যাও কদম খাতায় নাম লিখাও
ভান্ডারির স্কুলে যাও কদম খাতায় নাম লিখাও রেজিস্ট্রারি কবুল হলে তবে প্রাণ বাঁচে
নাম লেখাও।
Gausul Azam Mais Bhandari, School Khuilase. Gausul Azam Mais Bhandari, School Khuilase.
স্কুল খুইলাছে রে মৌলা স্কুল খুইলাছে হাই হাই স্কুল খুইলাছে রে মৌলা স্কুল খুইলাছে
Gausul Azam Mais Bhandari, School Khuilase. Gausul Azam Mais Bhandari, School Khuilase. Gausul Azam Mais Bhandari, School Khuilase.
This trumpet part at the end is just brilliant.
School Khuilase.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So entertaining, always. So entertaining.
I would pay good money to watch them. I would pay a lot of money to watch them.
Joler Gaan probably has become one of the favorites of me. The way they perform.
I mean, I don't remember any song where I would be smiling this widely, ear to ear, and it's not a smile. I'm bursting with happiness for
yeah.
some reason whenever because these guys are so clever, so clever. Their every single act, every single plan is so well executed. Beginning with trumpet, right? So, I mean, trumpet is usually associated with announcements,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? And they begin with trumpet, and
trumpet.
then they went ahead with announcement, and then their performance. This guy was performing a folk song in a hilarious manner, right? But his own acting and his own control was so iron grip. I mean,
He didn't lose his
never
character.
smiled.
He didn't.
He never smiled once. There was this tiny bit of a spell where he almost smiled. And yeah, man, wow. Both of these guys, especially the guy with the darker hair, that guy was in character.
Yeah.
Oh my
Completely.
God.
Completely.
The attire, the school bag, the ragged appearance, and it goes so well with with the long hair, the eyes, this stoned appearance. They are so brilliant. I just cannot express us how amazing. I mean, every time I listen to them, IPDC overall, we have heard this is the fourth song from
Fourth.
IPDC that we are listening together. Pranasoke Nisha Lagilore, Por Jaga Por Jamin,
And now this one.
And each song from IPDC have had me it drawn me a grin. But this particular Joler Gaan, these guys are just brilliant.
Amazing bunch of musicians, performers. The theatrics that
Brilliant
they pull
performers.
out every time the theatrics that they pull out. I remember it from Pura Jaga. Poor Jamin as well. They were playing chess, smiling,
Yeah,
having it felt like a conversation between those two vocalists
yeah.
in that track. And here as well, I think one of them is trying to play the master who is doing the announcement, and the other one is the sidekick. And the guy was doing the sidekick part dressed as a nomad, and he was just brilliant. You talked about the trumpet being being used as an instrument for announcement. You are spot on with that. And I think the instrument that they played in the beginning, which we could not pinpoint what the name of that instrument was,
Yeah.
that also used to be an instrument
Yes.
for announcements. So they were doing this announcement that the school has opened, right? So one thing which I would try to make sense of from the lyrics because I just Google translated them, is that the song itself is trying to communicate the joy or happiness. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's obvious from the title of the song that when a school opens up in a small locality or a place which is not as privileged, this sort of festivity happens.
Jubilation.
Yeah, the festivity happens around it as well. And the translation in parts was a bit interesting for me because it felt that they are trying to say that anyone can be part of the school, all young kids, male, female.
So,
Yeah.
so I think there's this term for adult education I'm forgetting. Uh, for adult education. So in our part of the world, uh, where yeah, I just couldn't
Yeah.
hit my brain enough to get the term out. But in our part of the world, where yes, children should go to school or start school,
Hmm.
but there are adults who also require but also attend a special kind of schooling for
Hmm.
them,
Yeah.
for adult education, where they get educated just like children. They go through those curriculum, but it's an adult education, right?
Hmm.
So I think here as well, they were just jubilation
Hmm.
over a school being opened, and they were encouraging everyone to register and get signed up
Hmm.
and all that. But
Hmm.
the way it is done is what's so special.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned the education for the adults. It reminded me of a very special TV serial of Pakistan way back in 80s. It was called Talim-e Balgha, and it was done by,
Yes.
I think, if I'm not wrong, it was done by Anwar Maqsood, or probably written by Anwar Maqsood. But that play had this element as well. So there were people who were just getting
So
education there.
so adult education, the word or phrase for adult education in Urdu is actually talim
Talim-e
balagha.
Balgha, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
It is actually it.
Yeah. And what's
Uh,
interesting for me in the lyrics is that they are inviting everyone to get registered, as you mentioned, and I feel that they are trying to communicate that there isn't going to be any judgment done. So in traditional school setting, you have grades, marks, and everything, and you are not basically measured on the basis of your skill or intellect. But here, I think they are trying to communicate that just get registered here and just try to just get on board of this particular train.
yeah, this is the other thing that I absolutely love about this particular song and other work from IPDC and Joler Gaan, and in general the folk music from Bangladesh,
Hmm.
right? Because the messaging around those folk songs,
Hmm.
the art is generally extremely progressive, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this kind of song, folk song, should be an anthem for
Hmm.
our countries, for our region, where the literacy is down in the
Yeah.
you know you know you know. So I mean, this should be an anthem. This should be um, memorized by all children,
Hmm.
right? These kind of messages, I would rather have these kind of messages have higher priority than national anthems, because national anthems, I mean, what does that they do? What does they achieve? I mean, apart from nationalistic fervor,
Hmm.
this is actually progressive. This is what is in need of the hour in our
Hmm.
region.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love both aspects, all aspects, every single aspect of this particular performance.
Yeah. And I think this song was, I was translating it. It was written by one of um, the famous Bangladeshi poet. I'm forgetting his name. I'm just trying to look it up. Ramesh Shell. So it was written way back, and it's this folk song is being rendered again by IPDC. So the message from back then is still persistent throughout their music, right? So this is what you,
Absolutely,
yeah, always resonate with.
exactly. I mean, as I'm saying, even today. So if this was written in 1800s, let's
Hmm.
say, right, and the first school was open and there was jubilation, our region is so, especially if I talk about our own country, let's not talk about other countries.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
in certain ways so backward that even now in 2022 there are villages and places without schools, without teachers,
Hmm.
and children have to like walk 2 miles, 5 miles
Hmm.
to get to a school, you know. And I mean, in this day and age, this shouldn't be normal or acceptable,
Yeah.
right? So that this is what hurts me a lot, and this is why I also appreciate this kind of work so much.
Hmm. Okay, I think one question that I leave for you and audience, maybe you can let me know later. Why were they dressed as a nomad? So I think that they are probably trying to convey that in a scene where in villages you see such caravans going through the villages and singing their folk song. So probably they are trying to depict that, but I was really curious to know about the kind of attire that they had. Why did they chose that attire?
It was a rural attire, maybe,
Hmm.
right? So I mean, one guy was completely in rural attire,
Hmm.
the other guy was a stoner, right?
Hmm. Yeah, it
And
was
his
evident.
whole appearance was a stoner, but he had a bag and he was also shouting his lungs out at
Hmm.
School Khuilase Re Mawla, right?
Hmm.
So I think, yeah, it's about adults being jubilant
Hmm.
about school being opened, and they might get educated, literate, and that might bring about a lot of change in their lives.
Hmm.
But
Interesting.
this is my perception.
Interesting. All right, I think we are gonna listen to more of Joler Gaan's work for sure because they stand out for me at least, and I would love to explore more of their work. But thank you so much for recommending this particular track. This was suggested numerous times by many people, and we thank you all for suggesting it. We'll catch up on the next one. Until then, take care of yourself. Bye bye.